Coming up tonight on YCN News, a career-defining bill by Governor Peter Shumlin. Vermont prepares for the new fiscal year, and Brattleboro is the place to be this weekend. For more news, weather, and sports, it's time for YCN News, your local view.
Now, your daily digest of the Dartmouth Lake Sunapee region, southern Vermont, and Windsor County. News, sports, weather, and all that is happening in our area. The news on YCN, your local view.
Good evening. It's Wednesday, June 3rd. I'm Laura James. Welcome to YCN News. In Vermont today, Governor Peter Shumlin signed into law another bill that could define his political career, if not this legislative session. Well, it's an issue he spoke about earlier this year, school consolidation. House Bill 361 will outline steps the state will take to rein in education spending, a sore spot with property owners who spoke of increasing tax bills while pre-kindergarten through grade 12 student enrollment declined. One point to take away about the bill's passage is that financial incentives will be given to small school districts who combine forces with a neighboring and fellow small school district. Details of that provision remain to be worked out. Again in Vermont, 14 state workers will be laid off as part of a new plan under Governor Shumlin's administration. The layoffs are being conducted in order to reach a labor savings goal in the next fiscal year budget. The Department of Human Resources says the cuts are part of a total of 62 position reductions, of which the majority are unfilled. The fiscal year budget for 2016 begins on July 1st, and the target for labor savings is around $10 million. These 14 layoffs are part of the latest steps to reach this goal. And finally, in Vermont news, the state is falling behind the U.S. average in the percentage of women-owned businesses. Vermont sits close to the bottom of nationwide growth of such businesses since 1997, with a little more than 23,000 women-owned companies, that according to a report released today. The 5th annual State of Women-Owned Businesses report highlighted that these businesses contribute around $2 million in revenue each year and employ around 13,000 people. These numbers are compiled based on data from 1997 to 2007 from the U.S. Census Bureau, and although the rate is slow, women-owned businesses are indeed growing in Vermont. Well, there's a lot of fun set for the weekend in Brattleboro, Vermont. YCN's Dan Carbonara brings us this next story.
Hi, I'm Megan Houlihan at the Brattleboro Farmers Market in Brattleboro, Vermont. The Farmers Market takes place every Saturday from the first Saturday in first Saturday in May through the last Saturday in October. It's actually a fairly unusual market in that we have over 50 vendors. We do offer an array of fresh produce, plants for the garden, but we also have a large selection of craft vendors with particular attention to local handmade crafts that are sustainably sourced. We also have quite an assortment of prepared food available here. We have Thai, we have crepes, we have local cheese makers, we have chocolatiers, tacos. It's a huge assortment. It's a great place to have lunch. It's a great place to have breakfast. People come for the music, so every Saturday we have live music from 11 to 1. We have a Kids' Day coming up on June 13th, and that's a day when children from the area are invited to set up a table and vend their handmade products. So they often sell baked goods, they sell crafts that they've made from hand. It's a fun time for families. And it's also just a local gathering place. We have a sandbox that attracts children, so lots of parents meet up here. It's a place where we see a lot of hugs and greetings of friends greeting each other. But we do have farmers. A lot of our farmers have greenhouses, and so they have very early crops, and they also store a lot of their food. So we do have quite a wide selection throughout the summer. Things like, of course, we have rhubarb and other staple early crops, but we also have some unusual ones. We have a vendor who's selling a plant very similar to cilantro, but it's from Central America, and no one's ever heard of it. From Interstate 91, take exit 2 and go west toward Bennington. You'll find plenty of parking just about a mile past the interstate.
Well, thanks so much, Dan. I have to tell you, in addition to the farmers market on Saturday, the annual Strolling of the Heifers is scheduled for downtown Brattleboro on Main Street. If you're going, get set. The parade's beginning at about 10 a.m. sharp. Coming up on YCN News, New Hampshire Governor Maggie Hassan keeps babies off beer labels, an alert for Sunapee commuters, and a new resource for hikers in the Upper Valley. More news, sports, and the midweek forecast when YCN News returns.
The YCN News continues in a moment.
Welcome back to YCN News. I'm Laura James. Well, 3 of the 4 U.S. senators representing the Twin States congressional delegation voted in support of the USA Freedom Act. The legislation, known earlier as the Patriot Act, aims to protect Americans from terrorist attacks without infringing on personal privacy. Now, one section, known as Section 215, has been removed. This means the National Security Agency can no longer collect metadata or cellular and digital information of citizens as part of counterterrorism surveillance work. If the NSA needs to speak with a resident, it must apply for a search warrant. Voting in support of the bill was New Hampshire Republican Senator Kelly Ayotte and Democrat Jeanne Shaheen, and from Vermont, Democrat Patrick Leahy. Independent Senator Bernie Sanders voted no. The vote passed 67-32. The only U.S. senator who did not vote yesterday was South Carolina Republican and possible presidential candidate Lindsey Graham. Well, underage drinking continues to be a prevalent issue in the Granite State, and Governor Maggie Hassan yesterday turned down a measure that would allegedly promote it. Now, on Tuesday, she vetoed House Bill 122 that would allow the use of photos of minors on beer bottles because it would undermine the state's ongoing effort to combat underage drinking. The measure was proposed by Republican State Representative Keith Murphy, who owns Murphy's Tap Room restaurant in Manchester, New Hampshire. He wanted to be able to import and sell beer from Founders Brewery Company there in Michigan, whose label shows a baby eating oatmeal, reports the Associated Press. In a press release, Hassan stated there needs to be a balance between responsible regulation of alcohol and creativity in its marketing. She went on to say that she has been very supportive of the growing craft beer industry in New Hampshire, yet House Bill 122 does not provide the necessary balance. Well, a notice for Sunapee residents. Tomorrow and Friday, both Sunapee Central Elementary School and Sunapee Middle High School will be conducting emergency drills. Emergency vehicles will be responding to both premises, and officers may be directing traffic on Route 11. The drills will occur between 1 and 3 p.m. on both days, and citizens with scanners might hear radio traffic regarding the exercise. Police Chief David Cahill reminds that although these drills may be an inconvenience to commuters, they are important in the instruction of safety to children. And another notice, but this time of a different nature, literally. Hikers and bikers now have full use of a new website that shows detailed information on hundreds of trails around Vermont and in the Upper Valley. The Trail Finder website was revealed by the Vermont Department of Forest, Parks and Recreation and the Upper Valley Trails Alliance. The site highlights trails all over Vermont and the Upper Valley region of New Hampshire that are for public use. Users can find trails for hiking, biking, cross-country skiing, horseback riding, and other activities as well for every season. Each trail on the site's interactive map comes with details of length, difficulty, trailhead location, and more. Interested? Check out trailfinder.info to plan your summer outdoors. Well, Kearsarge Chronicles and Solomon sat down with Carter Bascom of the New London Outing Club. We'll have that interview when YCN News returns.
The YCN News continues in a moment.
Welcome back to YCN News. I'm Mike Pizzone. Well, it was nice seeing that sun out there again, and it looks like we'll be seeing more as we head into the second half of the week. Skies will remain clear this evening with temperatures bottoming out at about 45 degrees, though there will be some areas of patchy fog by midnight and early into the morning tomorrow. From there, the sun will be back out in full force, bringing with it a high of 75 degrees with winds maxing out at about 5 miles per hour. Temperatures will remain above the 50-degree mark tomorrow night, with skies becoming partly cloudy and calm winds. Friday will be another warm one with highs of around 76, though there's a slight chance we could see some showers late in the afternoon. Now let's take a look at our community calendar to see what's happening in the area. The Claremont Farmers Market will be held tomorrow from 4 to 7 p.m. at the Broad Street Park in Claremont, New Hampshire. The market will be held rain or shine and feature vendors from throughout the region. The Springfield Community Players will kick off the 2015 season with a performance of The Lion in Winter on Friday and Saturday at 7:30 p.m. at their studio on South Street in Springfield, Vermont. Call the number on the screen for reservations. The Windsor Fire Department in Windsor, Vermont will host an open house throughout the day on Saturday to increase public awareness about fire safety. The community is welcome to enjoy free food, a dunk tank, and a bounce house. With high school tournaments now in full swing, I headed over to Riverside Middle School in Springfield, Vermont to watch the third-seeded Cosmos take on 14th-ranked Lamoille in the first round of the Division II tournament. And while the Cosmos certainly anticipated they'd come away with a win in yesterday's playoff opener, nobody expected things would play out as easily as they did. Lamoille swung its way to a 1-0 lead after its first at-bat, before a base hit on a bunt by junior shortstop Brooke Wiley in the bottom of the inning paved the way for Chelsea McAllister's game-tying RBI here that knotted things up at 1-1. The senior third baseman crossed the plate herself moments later on an error, but Springfield really took control in the second by way of a 15-run inning. Unfortunately for the Cosmos, it wasn't the team's bats that did the bulk of the damage, rather a string of bases-loaded walks, hit batters, and errors that helped the home team pull away for good. Springfield did benefit from one RBI single in the inning though, as this base hit by Karina Nichols drove in a run to up the lead to 16-1 at the time. The Cosmos added 4 more runs in the third inning with help from an RBI single by Calista Politer that plated Cassidy Otis from third, before a fielder's choice off the bat of Otis an inning later plated McAllister for the team's 22nd and final run. One benefit to the lopsided score was the ability to pull Springfield ace Jade Twombly from the circle after just 3 innings of work for some much-needed rest. McAllister threw the final 2 innings for the home team, surrendering just 1 run. I spoke with McAllister after the game, who said her team expected a relatively smooth game, but cautioned that things won't be as easy in round 2.
Being the number 3 seed, we knew we were going to have an easier component, but we still need to keep our focus inside the fence. And coming into the next round, we know we're going to have a harder opponent with a faster pitcher, so we need to get ready for that. And if we do that, then the outcome should be good. They had a slower pitcher, which we've never really been able to hit them as well, but then they had a faster pitcher, so I think we had to adjust to that. And then they came back to the slower pitcher. But I think with the medium speed that the next team probably will have, I think we'll be able to hit off them better.
I also spoke with Springfield coach Andy Bladika, who echoed McAllister's thoughts and touched on the benefits of earning such a comfortable win.
I think the advantage is that we have 2 days off before our next round game, so we have a couple of days to get us back in our normal practice routine and speed up the pitching and all that stuff. So, you know, the benefit to what happened today is we earned the 3 seed by playing well all year. We played the 14 team, and sometimes that's how a 3-14 game is going to go, and it's a lot better for it to go this way than to get knocked off. I mean, we've been in that situation before too. So not seeing many strikes today is difficult, yes. But we have 2 days to get ourselves back on the program, and we have an idea what we're going to be seeing on Friday. If the game between Mount Abe and Lake Region goes as we expect it to go today, you know, I have a scouting report on Mount Abe. So I don't think today is going to hurt us in any way at all. I mean, that was one of the good things that happened today. Jade pitched 3 difficult 7-inning games against 3 solid teams Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday last week. So she's a little beat right now. She had some sore ribs today, so getting her out after 3 innings and having the next 2 days off, you know, hopefully she'll be right back strong for Friday, and hopefully only having to go 3 innings instead of 7 today will be really important for her.
The Cosmos will be back in action Friday when they welcome 6th-ranked Mount Abraham to town, with the first pitch slated for 4 p.m. Both the Stevens and Kearsarge baseball teams earned wins in their tournament openers, as Chase Hussey pitched 5 scoreless innings and drove in a pair of runs to lead the Cardinals, and Jake Biersen tossed all 7 and drove in a run to help lead the Cougars. On the softball field, Kearsarge made the most of home field advantage with a narrow win in its opener, while Fall Mountain saw its season end by way of a 1-run loss. Over in Vermont, both the Bellows Falls and Windsor baseball teams extended their season with first-round wins, while Springfield and Green Mountain were dealt disappointing losses. Chris Armstrong threw 6 innings to help the Terriers to a convincing win over Mount Abraham, and Nick Kapazinski pitched a complete game and drove in a run to help lift the Yellow Jackets to an upset of People's Academy. And finally, on the softball field, Windsor swung its way to a comfortable win over Northfield to advance to round 2, and Green Mountain came up 5 runs short of earning a first-round win against Enosburg Falls. Ashley Bly earned the win from the circle for the Yellow Jackets, surrendering just 1 run on a single hit through 7 innings. Nalia Thompson led the way from the plate with a pair of RBI. Now looking at the updated brackets, you'll notice all local baseball teams will be on the road in the second round, with Stevens and Kearsarge needing to pull off some heavy upsets to extend their seasons by another game. On the softball field, that bodes true for Kearsarge as well, while Newport will be in that ever so interesting 8-9 game on the road at Hopkinton. Over in Vermont, Bellows Falls Baseball will be up against a similar seed in its second round game, with Windsor Baseball going on the road. And in softball, we get the benefit of a double local matchup when Windsor travels to face Bellows Falls in round 2. That does it for YCN Sports. I'm Mike Pizzone.
Thanks so much, Mike. Coming up next, YCN's Capital Connections host John O'Connor met recently with Claremont Citizens Group founder Michael Charest. We'll have part 2 of that interview when YCN News continues.
The YCN News continues in a moment.